What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fulfillment Podcast, where we help discover better you by finding fulfillment in life, relationships, and finance. I'm your host, Josh, and in this episode, we're talking about the pain that we create and the pain we manifest on our own. And I'm just going to get right into it. There's no more introduction after that. I always talk about things that are on my mind, right? I say that all the time. I'm talking about what is real to me at the time. And I'm constantly reading, right? Every day I wake up and I try to read at least, 15, 20 minutes a day. My weekends, I'm trying to get into a rhythm, right? And figure out how I want to run my world and how I want to run my life. Because by doing that, I get organized, I get my thoughts straight, and I get everything kind of centralized around whatever that goal is that I'm trying to accomplish. And I want to be moving forward, always. So my weekends are now my meditate and podcast recording days. These are the days that I get out there and I talk about the issues that I want, but I deal with them. It's more importantly, I deal with the things that are crushing me. And today, one of the biggest things, and this is always like something that happens in your life, right? But we create our pain that we experience in the world. I experienced somebody just creating and absolutely manifesting things that were not real to them. And it's insane because we do this all the time. I mean, I'm a product of it as well, right? I create the issues and the pain and the manifestations of things that are not even real, but we create it anyway. We create our own pain in the world. Just as we can create good things, right? We talk about how we can manifest the good things that happen in our life. We can also do the opposite. And more commonly than not, that's what we do. We do it all the time, every single day. We manifest the things that we don't want. And the people that are successful, the people that figure it out, the people that get out of their heads and start making actions and making things change are the people that figure out that they can manifest the energy that they want. Regardless if it's good or bad, they can do whatever side that is that they want, and they decide to make it the good. They decide to move forward. They decide to make it progressive instead of regressive. But too many of us don't understand that. And we're conditioned at a really young age to do that. We're conditioned so young to understand that money is evil, that other people are bad, that inherent goodness isn't true in nature, that you have to work hard and rich people are evil. We're taught these things and they're limiting beliefs for us. And there's a way out of it. And it's confronting these things and realizing that it's not true. It's just what we create in our world. Think about when you go out and you do something, right? And you have an expectation that you set for the way it's supposed to turn out, for what you want it to be, whether it be a date, whether it be an engagement, whether it be some sort of sports game or whatever, right? Whatever it may be, if you want some sort of outcome, if you want your team to win and they lose, are you upset? Most likely, yes. Most likely you're going to feel that pain. Now, I'm not saying being competitive is bad. That's really, really good. You need to do that. It's what creates results and success in the world, is that you have failure when you don't win, so that you can learn from mistakes and you can find ways to progress and move forward in your weaknesses, and you can correct those things. But you have to understand, when it comes to making things work for yourself, when it comes to discovering the successful habits that bring the positivity in your world and regressing from the negativity and getting away from that, you have to be able to identify what it is that we're doing every single day to bring ourselves down and bring ourselves the pain that we manifest into our world. We create all this on our own. And I've had so many discussions with people about how we do this and why we do it. And I don't know why. The only thing we do is we hate change, right? Human interaction and human change is negative to us in a connotation because we don't want to go through pain. When you go through a breakup, you don't want to go through the pain because the breakup is painful. You hate being cheated on. You hate being lied to. You hate thinking that somebody is one thing and they're actually somebody different, right? Not knowing who this person is. There's no certainty. You hate that. You don't want to go through the pain. But we have to understand that sometimes this pain is good. The pain teaches us things. The pain allows us to learn and discover and to move forward and to experience new things that are good for us. You can't be afraid of pain. If you're afraid of pain, you're afraid of growth. And if you're afraid of growth, you're never going to move forward. You're never going to progress. You're only going to stay where you are. And you have to ask yourself, are you in a place right now where you're happy? If you're not, then don't be afraid of pain because it's what you need in order to change. You have to allow the pain into your world in order for you to be accepting of the growth that can happen on the backside of it. If you shut the opportunity for pain to exist in your world, if you shut out the opportunity for you to be vulnerable in situations, then you also shut out the opportunity for you to find growth and happiness and love. And we have to be conditioning ourselves to do the difference. We have to work together with other people and teach each other and grow a society and change the shift in the mindset from avoiding pain, avoiding vulnerability, avoiding these things that can help us grow. We have to change this mindset that we're stuck in, that we're taught from such a young age, that it's good. And it's okay to have that. Pain is so good, we cannot be afraid of it. We have to be accepting of what it brings to us. We create this subconscious bubble around the fact that somebody may leave us, so we don't want to get into a relationship, or we turn ourselves away from relationships because of what we've experienced in the past. Because if we fall in love, we know that there's pain that can follow, and we don't want that pain. So we turn down love. We turn down the opportunity for something great because we don't want to go through things that have happened to us before. If we look at it instead and we get rid of expectations altogether, and we get rid of these limiting beliefs that things that are bad can happen to us, and we go into it with an open mind, with no expectations of the way it needs to turn out, but with an open mind of it could turn out no matter what, and I'm going to walk away with it with something good. Or I'm going to be in it for a long time, and it is going to be great, and it is going to be the most fulfilling thing that I've ever experienced before in my life. When you get to the point where we can do that, or we can understand that we can really fulfill, and we can open our hearts and we can accept the true greatness that's allowed in our life. It's amazing when we start to realize that, and we do that because we create the pain in our world. Think about this. You go into a relationship, you meet somebody amazing, right? And you start talking and you start communicating with them and you start sharing and opening up, and everything's wonderful. And then you get this shift in your head, this mindset change, right? Where you start reverting back to this state of mind that you're brought into, that you've been taught your whole life, that people leave. Maybe you've been cheated on before. Maybe you've been left at the altar. Maybe you've gone through a marriage and divorce. Maybe you have experienced it from one of your friends' point of views. And you get into this relationship and this person is wonderful, and the first thing that happens, the first thing that even remotely resembles somebody cheating, maybe they don't pick up their phone on a weekend because they're hanging out with their friends and they forgot to tell you that that's what they're doing, but they don't text you back. And you immediately resort to they're lying to you, they're cheating on you, they're with somebody else, that's why they're not talking to me. As soon as you do that, things shift in your head, and now you're on this bullet train to Fuckville, where you can't get yourself out of this rut thinking that they're doing something bad, and while they don't text you this whole time, while they're just having a fun time with their buddies, drinking at the bar, probably talking about sports or video games, you're over here manifesting this catastrophe scenario in your head. You're creating this magnificent world of misery in your head. It's not even real. That's what I want you to understand. We're creating something that's not even real because we have an expectation of what should happen. They should be texting us back. They should be telling us these things. They should be responding to us. We want this to happen. This is our expectation. But because they're not, we're resorting back to previous experiences because we're afraid. We're afraid of the change and the possibility that this could be good. That there could be something positive coming out of this. They could be doing something. Fuck, they could be on their way to buying us flowers and chocolates and all these other wonderful things, figuring out vacation plans and everything for us. But we're immediately going to the worst case scenario. Immediately. Based on what? Right? Previous experience. That's doing what for us? Protecting us? Protecting your heart? Wow! How is that protecting anything? It's not. It's not protecting a damn thing, because what is it doing? It's creating pain and misery for you right now. It's creating all these negative emotions, and they're building up inside you, and it's getting worse and worse. And for what? You're sitting in a room by yourself coming up with all these problems. Why? Why do we do that? Why are we conditioned? Why are we so willing to believe these bad things happen when all these good, wonderful things could be happening? Why do we rely so much on negative experiences, on ways to avoid pain instead of embracing it? Take your mind and shift the shit out of the way you see things. Shift yourself out of these negative scenarios and find good things, find good possibilities. You know what? If it doesn't work for you and it makes you sad or unhappy, by all means, go back to being miserable. Manifest these magnificently miserable scenarios in your head. If that makes you happier, if that's a happier life, then I'm trying to find the positive in every situation. And manifesting these positive scenarios. Who knows, right? Maybe they are cheating. Maybe somebody is doing something sideways. Maybe the deal is falling through because of some corrupt, negative reason, right? Maybe they are a nasty, dirty billionaire, right? But what's that gonna do for you? It's not gonna do anything. It takes your world and flips it upside down. That's all it does. If you're not getting good vibes, leave. Don't sit here and manifest this beautiful creation of toxic idealism in your mind. All for what? Nothing. There's nothing good that comes out of that. Walk away. If you have bad vibes, walk away. Your gut knows. Your gut, when you feel these gut experiences, when you feel these gut intuitions, we sometimes try and ignore them, and we try and rationalize them, and we try and make sense of all these things, right? I'll tell you what's happening. What's going on when you feel that gut feeling? It's your spirit. That's your subconscious. That's your eternal being telling yourself, this isn't right, or it is right, or this is right. It's your spirit telling you something, and your spirit's never wrong. Your subconscious is never wrong. But sometimes we ignore it, and we try and rationalize these things. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for me to understand why we create our own pain. Why we create these negative scenarios in our head just because, right? We create the pain that we experience in the world. We manifest the negativity. Learn to do the same thing, but with positivity, with good things. Watch how your world's going to change. Do it. Just do it. Do it for a fucking day. If you like it, if you like the way you see things, if you like the way the world turns out when you do that, just for one day, do it for a second day, and then a third. And then before you know it, you got a week, and then a month down. Now you're on this bullet train to success. And that's... Gosh. If you look at people that are happy in life, right? Your happiness is your ability to solve problems. You don't solve problems if you create them. If you live your world creating problems, manifesting these magnificently beautiful, destructive scenarios, you're not solving shit. You're creating shit. And if you're not solving anything, you're creating all the bad, right? If you're not fixing things, then you're breaking them. And happiness is your ability to solve problems. So why would you do anything different? When these things come up, solve them. If you think somebody's doing something, address it. If they answer it and you still have bad vibes, walk away. Remember, your gut's telling you one thing, your spirit is telling you something. And you know, right? And you can be wrong too. You can interpret what that feeling is incorrectly. Don't think like, oh, I'm getting bad vibes, so I'm gonna leave. Address it. Be like, hey, I don't have good feelings about this. Can you tell me what's going on? Break this down for me. Like, this is what I'm assuming is happening right now. What's going on? And if they tell you, and you still don't believe them, or you still don't have good vibes, guess what? You have free will, you can walk away. But don't let that manifest into the next one either. Leave it behind, because it's independent. They're different. Not everybody is the same. I struggled with this, I really did. Especially coming out of the divorce, right? I thought everybody was the same, all the girls were the same, they were all just gonna do the same thing, and it was always gonna end up in pain and misery. But you have to learn. You have to learn to let go, and you have to learn to walk into relationships, and you have to learn to walk into situations with no expectation. Because when you leave the expectation at the door, you leave the possibility for disappointment. Tell me how many things you predict every day that are gonna go the way that you think they are. I can tell you by being in the Army, we have a phrase. The plan never survives first contact. And that's because things never go the way that you think they're going to. You have to have the ability to react. And how do you have the ability to react? You have no expectation for the way that things are going to go. You can prepare. And just like in the Army, you prepare with SOPs, standard operating procedures, things that everybody knows are commonplace. It's almost like plays in basketball. If the ball goes here, everybody rotates a certain play. If the ball goes there, everybody rotates a certain play. The same thing is true in warfare, right? If you're good at it and you're a good leader and you understand how things work, you understand nothing is predicted. Everything is possible, but nothing is predicted. And you're able to react to no matter what happens, you're able to react because everybody has a sequence of things that they do. If input X is inserted, then we all do Y. If input Y is inserted, we all do X. We all know that if something happens, there's a way to react. There's not a, this is what will happen, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going to go, this is how it's going to end up. No, we don't know that. Things can change constantly. You have to be able to react. And how do you do that in daily scenarios? How do you react? It's not bullets flying at you, no, but it's problems. And just like with anything else, right? If we have a way that we handle our problems, if we handle our problems with no knowledge, if we handle our problems with no expectation, with not expecting a thing to happen, but we're able to react no matter what, right? We're able to ask the questions, we're able to inquire into the things that are bothering us. We're able to be open and open our heart and say, hey, this is what's up, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, how do I adjust from it? What's going on? Is this real? Right? If you have the ability to address things and answer and ask the questions to get the answers, you found your way out of this destructive path that you've been on. And you have to, we got to be able to understand that, because that's what creates this just rough, painful world that we keep creating for ourselves. When you wake up in the morning and you can't get out of bed, right? Because you feel like you have no purpose, you have no drive or desire or anything that's happening, right? Think about the things that you've thought about today that are good. Think about the things you've thought about yesterday that are good. Find something that brings you passion. Find something that brings you fulfillment. Find something that brings you some sort of accomplishment in life. Working out is a great example of one. Exploring, traveling, going somewhere different, going for a drive, calling a friend, giving love to somebody else, right? Calling a friend and helping them through their breakup or their divorce or their painful relationship or their work problems. Those things are all examples of things that we can do. I want you guys to think about when we think about the people in our world or the influences that we have from people, right? When people are doing well, one of the things that we believe is like the rich are evil, right? They're bad people. When you think about the people that are succeeding and taking chances and expanding their horizons and learning more and trying to do really good things, what are the things we think about, right? When we think about the Elon Musks, the Tai Lopez, the Tony Robbins, the Grant Cardones, the Jason Capitals, the Dan Locks of the world, right? When we think about those people, what do all those people have in common? Sure, we could think they're successful, right? But what's something else? Do you think that they have people that criticize them for things that they do? Do you think that they have this negative mindset in the world where they create this pain that comes into their life every day? Probably. I'm sure it happens. It happens to everybody. Do you think they understand that and they're cognizant of it and they change it? Yes. I can tell you right now, yes. You will never experience somebody successful that has not understood the concept of shifting your mind to experience positivity instead of negativity. It'll never happen. Because those people understand, in order to get out of these negative influences, these negative experiences, these negative mindsets that we create, these paradigms that do not support us. Tony Robbins talks about it all the time, right? We create these paradigms for ourselves in this world. We create these realities for ourselves. You got to learn to let it go. You got to learn to let go of these realities that do not support us getting to where we want to be, because they create these negative images of scenarios that happen inside our head, and it's not even, it's the things aren't real. You guys understand, you can sit in your room and you can create this beautifully magnificent, destructive like situation, this scenario in your head of things that aren't even existing. They're not even happening. They're just things that we're making up in our mind. And then someone comes back and they're like, what's going on? And you're completely sideways. You're broken down, the place is a mess, like you can't even think straight. And like, what is going on? And you've just created this scenario in your head. You've manifested this beautiful creation of all these terrible things that you could possibly come up with. And now you're a mess. All for what? All for nothing. Except that opening up, that being vulnerable, that accepting pain and allowing the opportunity for it to come into our world opens up for so many more possibilities. I'm not saying that when you open up for pain, that pain is going to happen. But when you stop letting pain dictate if you're going to do something or not, is when you start allowing the opportunity for the good things to come into your life and to change your world for the better. And that's what I want to understand. That's what I want you guys to see. That's what I want you to open your mind up to and to realize that by accepting pain as a reality, as a positivity, as a progress point for moving forward, by accepting that, you allow the possibility for so many wonderful things to enter into your world. And you stop shutting out things that don't exist or aren't real. When we talk about people getting into relationships, right, and they get their beautiful relationships, and they could be the right ones, but they're scared. You get scared, right, because you haven't healed yourself, or you haven't changed your world, or you haven't dealt with things in your past, right? You haven't healed your internal heart. Well, what you're doing is you're creating this painful reality for yourself because you think of what is going to happen is going to happen, instead of just allowing and accepting, hey, pain could happen. I could get hurt, but I'm never going to find happiness if I let that be my deciding factor. If I go into every experience and opportunity of positivity and every opportunity of love and every opportunity of growth, if I go into it expecting that pain is going to come out the other side and I'm afraid of it and I won't deal with the pain, then you eliminate the possibility of greatness altogether. So why would you do that? Why do we condition ourselves to believe that we need to avoid the pain no matter what? Even if there's a possibility of good, we need to avoid the possibility of bad over it. You don't. We need, and that's what I'm saying, we need to shift ourselves away from that. Instead of saying there's a possibility of bad, so I will not do this thing, look at it as there is a possibility of good and greatness and beautiful and love and genuine reality to this. Sure, pain is there, but I'm not afraid of it because it's only going to bring me closer to what I want. So let's go all in. Let's dive right into this. Let's let this thing that is possible become the reality because I want to manifest what's good and avoid the things that are bad. I want to jump in and I don't want to create this negativity. Isn't that crazy? You don't want to create negativity. So instead of avoiding it, you embrace it. You embrace that it's there, that it's real, and because of it, you will find good. When the pain happens, it's going to lead you to greatness. So don't avoid it, accept it. And that's what we have to do. It's so crazy because we think avoid pain. We don't want pain. We don't want pain, right? We don't want the bad things to happen. But in order to avoid it, you have to allow it. It's like free will. In order to receive love in your world, you have to let it be done freely. You have to allow the possibility of it not to happen. And by doing that, that's how you create the reality of it. You manifest the trueness. And I think that's so cool. I mean, we talk about God and we talk about the spirits and the higher beings and all this stuff, right? What is the biggest thing that we've been given as human beings in all of this, right? We have free will. What does free will do? Sure, right? Garden of Eden, right? We all know the story. You can choose to do something bad, right? You can eat that bad apple from that negative tree. You can do that. But you'll never find the love if you don't allow that opportunity to happen, because then you're forcing it, right? You're forcing the things that you want in your world, and you can't have that. You have to allow the freedom for them to choose between good and bad, and that's the only way you're going to know that they choose you. They choose the love. They choose the good, because they didn't choose the bad. You have to accept it. You have to allow it. Just embrace it. That's what I want us all to understand. We create the pain we see in the world. So stop trying to avoid it and allow it to happen, because by allowing it, we allow the possibility of greatness. I hope you guys took a lot away from this. That's all I got. It's a short one today, but I hope you guys took away as much as I did. Follow me on fulfillment_podcast on Instagram. Make sure to go to Apple Podcasts, leave a like and a review, and rate the podcast, and then send me a DM. If you guys got some more content, if you guys like this one, let me know. I hope it's making a positive impact. I really do. I feel like this is kind of like my purpose now in the world, is to get a message out there and to help people get through these bullshit ideas that we create. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.